la propria mezza campo a difendere. E un Milan invece.
Giroud in area, si gira, sinistro, rete, ha raddoppiato il Milan al 33esimo minuto nel corso della ripresa. Cambia ancora il parziale a San Siro, gol, capolavoro di Olivier Giroud, spalle alla porta, in area di rigore, si libera sul piede sinistro, manda a vuoto l'intervento del difensore dell'Inter e piazza il suo sinistro nell'angolino più lontano, lì dove Samir Handanovic.
Buongiorno, pomeriggio, buonasera fellow and welcome to the MLM Podcast with me, your host, Max Lombardia. Bit of a nightmare this week. We were supposed to record Tuesday night, but I had a bit of a family emergency. So me and Gino will bring you two separate pods this week, but I'm sure they'll be full of rage and anger and everything else that we've got at the moment. So big welcome to the podcast. Please like and subscribe, of course. You can catch us on YouTube. You can catch us on X. You can catch us on Instagram, TikTok. At the moment, Substack's blown up quite big, so you can catch us on there as well. So big thank you to all of you. Right, look, listen. Before we get in there, big thank you as always to Milan Extra for providing us with their graphics. Great page. Please give them a like, a follow, and a subscribe. Right. Let's just get straight into it. So I did a sort of rant pod straight after the game. Maybe not such a great idea. Emotions running quite high, but here we are. So look, this is the starting formation for that game against Sassuolo. Obviously, Mike in goal. Tomori, Gabbia, Pavlovic at the back. Salamekas for Fofana, Yashari in for Modric, Rabiot and Estepanan in for Bartazaghi. Has your midfield five, and then Nkunku somehow got the nod with Leao up top. So, what is there to say about this game? Let me just start by reading out the Sassuolo starting formation. So, they played a 4-3-3. I said Turati in goal, mediocre. Walakovic at the back, never heard of him. Idzez at the back, never heard of him. Rahamovic, he was okay, but again, fairly unknown player. Garcia, bought. Kone, which we know all about. Matic, obviously great player. Dorsveld, heard about him before. Berardi, of course, Nzola and Llorente. So, a team put together, a team, promoted, managed by Fabio Grosso. Good season so far, relinquishing in mid-table, hit and miss with their performances, but nothing special. I mean, look at this team here. This team should beat that team, right? So let's talk about the game. So let's talk about the timeline. It didn't take long, did it, really? I think it was, 5 minutes, if that? Essentially for Arden Yashari, this prophet, our saviour, our 38 million euro saviour from Belgium, who was going to come on and replace Modric. Thank God we've got Yashari, guys. He jumps on, starts the game. Essentially, dispossessed, too weak on the ball, counter-attack, shock, horror. Estepanan gives Berardi the freedom of that right-hand side. Berardi slots it. Nothing Mike can do. We're 1-0 down within 5 minutes. I mean, my expectations were quite low, but fucking hell. Do you know what I mean? Awful play again. Just, what are we doing? Yet again, individual problems, individual mistakes leads to another goal. Positioning all over the place. Defence, 6s and 7s. I mean, it's a good goal from Berardi. It's a good finish, I guess, but yet again, more problems with Milan. 9th minute, Tomori gets himself a yellow card. And then it doesn't take long before Tomori is sent off for a second yellow card in the 24th minute. Now, you might have watched the replay. You might have thought that was a bit harsh. It probably is. Is there much of a foul? Not really. But Llorente goes down like a sack of shit. And Tomori gets the second yellow card. Now, as we know, VAR can't intervene on a second yellow. So he's off. So we're down to 10 men, 24th minute onwards. And I think, there's a lot of excuses going where we would have won with 11 men. It would have been better with 11 men. We were still losing by the time Tomori got sent off. So I don't really understand that logic. Anyway, game carries on. But I think is it just before? Is it just into the second half. So obviously Atakami comes on for Nkunku. They put on Lopani for Matic, and Llorente scores 47th minute. I mean, we're just shite for the rest of the game. Leao misses the sitter. And yeah, that's it really. 2-0 down. So we lose the game 2-0, which is quite pathetic. We play shy. It's the same stuff. It's the same paint drying stuff. It's the same sideways football. It's the same incompetency in front of goal. It's the same poor decision making in defence. It's the same positional issues. It's the same script over and over again. And where we got away with it the first half of the season, where some of the performances weren't great, but we got that 1-0 win or that draw, or we scored in the last minute, or we came back into games, or we showed a bit of spirit. This second half of the season, we've just had none of that. We've had no luck. We've not been able to draw upon Pulisic and Leao scoring clutch goals. We've not been able to sort of have defences play like to within the last minute. Even Manyan, you know, as many miracles as he can pull off, he still can't save us. And we register another loss. So that's Cremonese, that's Parma, that's Napoli, that's Lazio, that's now Sassuolo. Am I missing anything? I'm not sure. All really, you know, you can lose against Napoli, I guess. You can lose against Lazio on a bad day. But the other losses are quite embarrassing, and the draws as well. We've lost a lot of points through draws. So, you know, I kind of, you know, are we on holiday? It looks like that way, doesn't it? You know, and there's a lot of this season we've put a lot of praise on Allegri for, I guess, grinding out results. Playing this 3-5-2 to be defensively solid, to match and mask all the issues with Milan's recruitment in their sort of individual talent basis or lack of it. But what it's really done is sticking with this formation has really taken away some of the talent in some of the better players. And, you know, where Leao was scoring goals first half of the season, it's just not happening. Where Pulisic was doing well, even in this 3-5-2, it's not happening. Fulkrug is useless and Kunku is useless. Jimenez yet to really play a big part in anything at all this season, apart from missing sitters. Yeah, not good. And I think we need to start pointing some fingers towards this rigid and this sort of obsession with playing this way. I get it. Pragmatism, resultism. We've talked about that a lot this season. I understand why you would go with a formation that helps you. And, you know, I listened to another podcast who kind of was gloating that the fact that the 4-3-3 didn't work and the 3-5-2 is what we should have done. But the 3-5-2, it's worked to a point all season. Like I said before, it's worked to a point where we've managed to grind something out. We've kind of gone, oh, well, you know, we've won. And we came 8th last season. There is context behind, you know, being in 3rd position at this point of the season. There is some context. But I think anyone, even your most, you know, delusional fan, will say like that we've probably left a lot out there. We've probably left a lot on the table this season. A Milan that is not in anything other than Serie A should probably do a bit better result-wise as well as performance now. I think we have, you know, it's 25 points from the second half of the season. That's 2 points less than Sergio Conceição from last season. So we're in a really, really bad rut of form. This is with the 3-5-2, bar one game. This is with Allegri, the Italian coach. Not good at all. I think, you know, we'll talk about Fodlani and co a little bit later on, but I want to focus a bit more on the football. I think, you know, you watch the Juventus game and you go okay, a draw, fine. But then you watch the Sassuolo game and there's no plan B, there's no ideas, there's no sort of plan to make us be more cohesive at all. Yashari just gets plugged in for Modric. I mean, my God, is Yashari that bad? I mean, has he won a game for Milan yet? Has he played in a game where we've won? I don't know. I mean, he's been unlucky this season with his injuries and stuff, but he just doesn't look. He doesn't look like the player we think he is. He's more sort of. Is he a cameo player? Is he a substitute? Does he need a lot more around him than Modric does? Is this too big for him? Is this another CDK but goes to another team and does well? I don't know. It's a very expensive mistake. You know, I'm wearing my Tonali shirt today, and as I put it on, I thought, how much did we sell Tonali for? How much did Richie, Yashari, and Fofana cost us? How much did Musa cost us? Was it really worth selling a player like that to fund that Mercado, which you just eventually sold your Reinders from it anyway? What have we done here? We seem to have purposely dismantled the team. And then we kind of look at this season and we go, Napoli last season spent some money, put themselves together, won the Scudetto. This season, fine, whatever, but they're going to probably come second. We've done nothing. We've done literally nothing. We were worried about this. We really were. Let's look at these stats from the Sassuolo game. Again, 10 men, I understand, but we had one shot on target. We had 7 shots, we had one shot on target. Possession was awful, passes bad, accuracy poor, blah, blah, blah. But one shot on target. I mean, what more is there to say that it's not just about, the management? It is about the management and a lot of the management before people start fucking coming at me, but also the team and the way it plays. The players need to start taking some responsibility. So does Allegri. And there's a lot of, as Milan fans and as fans of any kind of football team, we just want to blame someone, don't we? We want to look for someone and we want to blame them, and rightfully so. But I think there's some accountability for everything here. There's accountability for Allegri and his staff in the way that they set these games up, the formation that they're absolutely stuck on, the way that they've put this team together in order to just defend. And that's fine, but when the results don't come, you're stuck with not only rubbish football, but also losing. There's some blame towards the players, and there's a conversation around Allegri doesn't make them run in those directions. But in Nkunku, Leao, Pulisic, and Fulkrug, Jimenez, awful team. And you can say about the tactics and stuff, but they have had chances. They have been in front of goal. 7 shots, 1 on target. If you look at the trend, our attackers are poor in form, and they're also not hitting the target on their shots. Then you go into the midfield, and we know what Fofana is. Final third, forget it. Wins the ball, should just pass it to the other midfielders. Rabiot can't do everything himself, but he has been scoring goals. I guess he's one of the light at the end of the tunnel players. Modric, yeah, fine. Then you go into the defence, and it's pot luck, the defence. Stepanen isn't positionally aware of anything. Salamakers not great recently. Gabbia better, but still not great. De Winter, he'll have to play next game. Tamori, again, own goals. Pavlovic, probably one of the better ones. Individually, we need to look at ourselves. The players need to look at themselves and sort of try and hold themselves accountable for their performances as well as what's going on. And, a lot of people are right. How was Attacker going to score with this setup? Well, how did the Udinese strikers score then? How do the Sassuolo players score? How does Parma score? How do these teams below us with less quality and even the same formations, how do they score? How do they play better? How do they look more up for the fight? Is that all on Allegri? I don't think so. I think that's something to do with these players. At the moment, they're just long-distance runners in Milan kits paid £1 million plus per season to just trot out. I don't know. It's not good. It's not good. Is it the pressure of the World Cup? Don't know. Not good. Not good at all. And then, again, you look at things like this. We've scored 1 goal. This is the first time in 126 years of history we've managed 1 goal in our last 5 games. 1 goal in 5 games. 126 years of history. This is our worst run of scoring. I mean, it's not good. And then we make players like this look like Ballon d'Or winners. He loves scoring against us. I don't even know what the stats are, but he scored a lot and he's assisted a lot. Not good. And what does this eventually mean? What does it all lead to? Why is it such a big problem at the moment, our form? Well, this. So the league table. So obviously Inter have won the Scudetto. Of course they have. And again, there's lots of, this is the worst Scudetto win. Inter the worst team to have won the Scudetto. They've barely won any big games. Blah, 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 blah. What a load of bollocks. They're the best team over a 38-game stretch, and they've won pretty much by 12 points. You can hate Inter, and I do. You can complain about all the way that they do things, and we should. Marotta League, and there's stuff, we'll see what comes out of that. But you can't argue that they deserve to win the Serie A. And at the end of the day, in 5 years' time, no one will give a shit about the quality of the league and who won what game and who they drew. And at the end of the day, they have the 21st Scudetto. We're still relinquishing in 19 Scudetto. It's the trophy's there. Like, there's no, they're in the final Coppa Italia. Again, for all the shit we can give them for not winning a derby in ages, what position would you rather be in? Right now, what position would you rather be in? I bet it's not the one we're in. So, fair play to him. Congratulations to Bastardi, Billy the Botana, everything that's wrong. I hope something happens with this Marotta League stuff. And not because I want to gain something from this, because I just want them to suffer. That's it. End of story. Napoli will probably take away the second spot. And then third downwards is looking a bit pathetic. So we're on 67 points now. Juve somehow didn't beat Verona. I thought that was a given. And they're on 65. Roma now on 64. Como on 62. There is a stark reality. Actually, there is a huge reality where Milan, having spent 98% of this season in the top 4 slots, could finish outside of it. And I really hope my pre-season prediction is completely wrong and we don't. But, if we lose against, and we'll talk about the game coming up, against Atalanta, and Juventus win, and Roma win, we could be in trouble. We could really be in trouble. And then we've got 2 not as good teams to play in the final 2 games. But, as much as I do, that means nothing. That, if anything, that feels a bit worse. Not good. Not good at all. I mean, Lazio could potentially win the Coppa Italia and qualify for Europe. Atalanta need to win. They need to win games. I'm really worried about this, actually. It could be another year with no Champions League football. So let's get into this preview. So obviously we've got Atalanta at home. We're going to face Palladino's Atalanta. An Atalanta reborn since Juric went, and we've said this before in the podcast. And Palladino, who is an underrated manager. Now, the form isn't fantastic in the last few games or so, but, definitely the right manager for the right club, if that makes sense. It really fits well. And I think, he's only got in there this season. So I think some time and Atalanta will grow strong again, I think, personally. I think Palladino is one to watch out for the future. I think he's a tier above the Grossos and the De Rossis who've done well at the clubs that they are. I think he's a tier above that. What are we going to do? What does Milan look like? Well, the Gazzetta dello Sport gave us a predicted lineup, and this is what it looked like. So Magnan in goal, De Winter coming in for obviously the suspended Tomori. Salamakers, Loftus-Cheek, Fofana, Rabiot, Bartazaki. Fofana. Oh, I hope that's wrong. And then we're hearing about Jimenez starting with Leao. Again, another roll of the dice from Allegri. And Cuckoo doesn't work, Fulcrum doesn't work. Pulisic and Leao doesn't work. What's next? What's left? It's Jimenez. I hope that Loftus-Cheek, I hope that's not true. I'd rather see Fofana in that slot and maybe Richie, who is a natural number 6, start in that slot. But he's Italian, so he'd probably be put on the bench. If Bartzagi's fit, obviously we'd rather him over a Stepanan. Salamaker's fine. So this is what the starting formation looks like. A big congratulations to Gabbia, who welcomed his daughter this week, I think. I can't remember what they called her. Vittoria, maybe? I can't remember. But congratulations, Gabbia, Matteo. Not sure about this. Not sure about this at all. Atalanta's form. So, obviously lost against Juve, drew with Roma, lost against Lazio in the Cup, lost against Cagliari, drew 0-0 with Genoa. So they're not in a great run of form, but neither are we. We are, of course, going to be at home for this game. Predictions. Again, with the 3-5-2, the form that our strikers are in, I cannot see a goal. I don't know where it's going to come from. Our set pieces are useless, so we can't even say, we take good corners and Pavlovic and Co will be in there, because we don't. We don't take good free kicks. I don't know, guys. I don't know where the goal's going to come from. I'm feeling really demoralised and on the floor, but I don't know where the goal's going to come from. I'm going to go 0-0. I think 0-0 is the best we could possibly hope for. 0-0 is the best possible chance. Fuck it, we're going to lose. We're going to lose. I think we're going to lose 2-0 again. Atalanta are going to be all over us. They're going to score. They're going to win. I think that's what's going to happen. And I think we're going to fall lower down the table. I just have no optimism at the moment for the way that we're playing, let alone the results. I can see Allegri in his rigid and stubborn ways play the 3-5-2 again. I mean, we're talking about Jimenez. I could see someone else. Maybe he goes and Kingo Fulkrug again. Maybe he's Trots Pulisic. I don't know. Not good at all. So look, that's the Sassuolo recap done. Pathetic, abysmal. The Atalanta game coming up, not much hope. I'm really sorry, guys. I'm not giving the positivity away, but not much hope at all. Let's talk about some other things. So, in December 2022, Forlani becomes the CEO of Milan. He takes over from Gazidis. And I think you can trace everything bad back to that moment. I think that was the real turning point. Let's be honest. You know, even if you think about form, and you think about was that the Winter World Cup? And then we came back from the World Cup and we were abysmal and we just slotted down the table. Coincidence? I think not. Another big news is the petition. So, petizione di tifosi di Milan monta la protesta contro Forlani. So, essentially, there's a petition at the moment going around against Forlani. They want him out. Last time I checked, I think it reached 10,000 signatures. It's just funny, isn't it? I mean, what's it going to do? Nothing. But it's funny. It's so bad that this is kind of the moment or where we're up to. And this is the picture. Now, I'm quite enjoying it as well. But if you look at any of the like AC Milan posts, you just see this picture over and over again. I think, you know, there's no argument anymore. I don't think there's anyone sat there going, we need to keep Forlani. He's not the root cause of all these problems. And if you are, you're deluded as fuck. Everything he does is wrong. Everything he does is wrong. Not one thing does he do is right. And even if you want to go down, well, he signed Reinders and he was great. He fucking sold him. And then all the other players he signed, Pulisic, okay, fine, Pulisic, that's probably your one thing. But even he's been in awful form. Musa, what the fuck? Emerson Royale, Estepanan, Fulkrug. There's a list the size of my arm for all the bad decisions he's made. And also, like, you know, financially, we're stable. Great, fucking great. But we haven't won a fucking thing. The only thing he's got, right, for 504 million euros of investment is a Super Coppa. Super Coppa, that's it. And that might be great for a Roma or a Lazio or below, but for a Milan, that's not good enough. That is not good enough. He is the root cause of all problems, 100%. I don't think anything will change until he goes. So we've heard all season about how qualifying for the Champions League will give us a budget, will ensure that, you know, we can compete next year. Absolute bollocks. It's absolute bollocks. It's just we are being brainwashed into thinking that's what's going to happen. Whether we qualify for the Champions League or not, we won't strengthen the team in the right way. This guy will still make the wrong decisions. He'll still be the overbearing parent over Tade and Allegri, and he'll still make stupid decisions that make no sense so that we continue to decline rather than get better. There's nothing about anything that he's done that gives me any confidence. Absolutely nothing. You know, absolutely, just wow. And again, I go back to this point. If Maldini was gone because of CDK, because of Origi, because of what he said on an interview to CBS, why is this guy still here? Why is he still here? Why is Cardinale condoning this? Are they really that much of a sort of set of losers that they're happy with what's going on? Allegri, again, for all his faults, what is he meant to do more than what he's done? Like, what, you know, yeah, he needs to be better. He needs to evolve. He needs to adapt. He needs to stop trotting out the exact same stuff. But he is working with a really bad situation. And then, this is the sort of thing we're celebrating. Oh, fucking great. No team this season can win the Champions League enough to reach us on 7. This is pathetic. This is what we're reduced to. What the fuck? What the fuck? Oh, great. Bayern Munich got knocked out last night. PSG Arsenal final. Great. Good for us. It's not good for us. This is embarrassing. This is embarrassing. Next. AC Milan CFO Stefano Goricero to solid 24 that the Champions League brings to a team like Milan 60 to 90 million in revenues. Being in its fundamental, it allows for a different kind of planning over the summer, certainly more ambitious. Bollocks, 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 bullshit, absolute bollocks. What a load of nonsense. Nonsense. Absolute nonsense. Why am I reading that Rabiot bite me sold to make money? What a load of absolute crap. This is shocking. You should shut up, Stefan, or you're talking shit. Absolute shit. Then what the fuck is this? Derek, by the way. Beautiful. Which is why I screenshotted it. What is this all about? Why are you fucking about with this stuff, Zlatan? Why do you continue to do the embarrassing? Oh, great. Tom Brady's cutting your hair because of the World Cup. Oh, good. You're going to be in the fucking, panel for the World Cup. Fantastic. Thanks. Cheers. Thanks for putting Milan first, I guess. More news. There are reports Max Allegri won't stay, so Milan could look towards ex-Real Madrid boss Xabi Alonso or Bologna coach Vincenzo Italiano, but one of them is heading to Chelsea. I wonder which one's heading to Chelsea. It wouldn't be Italiano, would it? So, come on. And then Allegri's going nowhere, mate. The only way Allegri goes is if they sack him. He won't go because he enjoys the paycheck. It's the easiest job he's ever had. Milan won't sack him because they won't want to pay the money. Moot point, ridiculous headline, but I wanted to go through it. Next thing, Fatturato Milan. So this is talking about how much Milan can make or how much money they make. So 494.5 million. So Atletico Madrid, Fatturato of Atletico Madrid, 454.5 million. So they lose 6 million. We gain 3 million from those numbers. Atletico have a manager that takes 15 million a season. They have players like Alvarez, Griezmann, etc., and they're in the Champions League. So why does Milan, with the amount of revenue it has, why is it unable to make big investments with players to improve it? Why is it unable to pay a top coach more money? Why? I wonder why. I wonder why it's unable to make better sporting decisions. If only there was a reason, Forlani, you piece of shit. Right, I think that's enough on all of that. Look, I think let's wrap this up. Let's sum this all up. Gianni Cardinale buys AC Milan. He doesn't know what he's bought. He has Maldini running the show. Maldini, who's worked on a shoestring budget, delivers a Serie A title. That's a fact. That's not an opinion. He has virtually no money in the summer, so he signs CDK, signs Origi, makes some weird decisions along the way, granted. That season, Milan really struggle, okay? They're within 5 points of a almost invincible Napoli team at the beginning of the beginning of January, and they just absolutely decline. They do well in the Champions League to reach the semi-final. They beat Napoli at home in that league as well. They beat Napoli in the Champions League final. They do well, but they show the limitations. They show the limitations of the squad, the fact that it doesn't have enough depth, and the fact that it doesn't have enough quality, and they need more depth and quality to be able to compete on bigger stages and more stages. Paolo Maldini says this in an interview. The end of the season comes, sacked. Volani takes over. Moncada's promoted. They sell Tonali. They buy all these players. And most Milan fans, shiny new toys, and all these players come along. Not many Italians, if any. Do we sign any Italians? Can't remember. Not many Italians. Not much quality in terms of actual quality. They go on the risk factor. They sign players who are injured or not doing well, like Pulisic, with the chance that maybe they do better. They've signed random Americans like Musa for too much. Pusa. Whoops, okay, I didn't mean that. Reinders, fine. Decent purchase, does well. Milan that season comes second. but they're 20 points off top. They are knocked out of the Champions League in the group stages. They are knocked out of the Europa League by Roma. They're embarrassed in the Cup. And Pioli goes, rightfully so. End of a cycle, needed to evolve. Decision making again. Time to find a new manager. They get Fonseca. Fonseca, who failed at Roma. Fonseca has failed at most clubs apart from Shakhtar Donetsk. They don't really give him a Mercado to be proud of. Morata comes in. You know, I liked the signing of Morata. I'm not going to bullshit and pretend that I didn't, because I did. But he doesn't do well. Everything goes downhill. He's gone by Christmas. Conceição comes in. They win the Supercoppa. They do a ridiculous transfer market. None of it works. Yet again. They get to the end of the season, they come 8th. They lose the Coppa Italia final. In the summer, they sort of do business, but they can't because they're not in the Champions League, so they don't have enough money. Bullshit. We get to this season. Allegri's in charge. They sign him a couple of players. The only real player he wants is Rabiot. Modric comes in. Yeah, fine. But Modric is a Tare thing, and Modric, I think, is more because Modric wanted to play for Milan, not for any other reason. Fulkrug is the only January transfer reinforcement, even though we're towards the top end of the table. Leao's constantly injured. Pulisic is injured. They're in shit form. We play the 3-5-2. And now we're coming to the end of the season, and fingers are being pointed everywhere. The number one culprit is Cardinale. He put Falani in that space. Falani is the reason why everything is where it is, without a shadow of a doubt. Is it small man syndrome? Is it he couldn't deal with Maldini? Is it... I don't know, but Falani needs to understand he will never, ever, 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 ever be a smidgen on Maldini. He will never be anything. He will never mean anything to any of us, ever. And maybe that's harsh, but it's a stark reality. Neither will Cardinale. They will mean nothing to us, ever. Maldini will always mean something to us. And I think it's not revisionism to want him back. I don't think it's a problem to say that. I don't think it's an issue to say that. I think it's a good thing to say that we want Maldini back. I think it's a good thing to realise that the man was doing only good for the club. And yeah, he made some mistakes. Give him 503 million euros, though. And let's see what he would have produced. I bet you it'd be a damn fucking sight better than what we're watching right now. 100% better than what we're watching right now. It is a free-falling shit show. And Champions League qualification will reimburse their books, but it will do nothing for us. We'll embarrass ourselves again next season in the Champions League. We'll have a team that can't compete on multiple fronts. We'll stagnate in the league again. We won't have a plan B. It'll be more of the same. And I guess my complete 360 side point to that is this. If you supported Milan your whole life, you will continue to support Milan. You know, people have supported Milan in Serie B. People have supported Milan mid-table. People have supported Milan banter era. People have supported Milan, you know, when we lost, you know, even at our height, when we lost that Champions League final against Istanbul against Liverpool. Milan, you will always support AC Milan. And I think whether you supported less or more, I think that's fair. I think that's your judgment. Whether you choose to invest and buy kits, I think that's also fair enough. Whether you choose to go to the stadium and watch a game, that's fair enough. Whether you choose to do stuff like this and invest money in Restream and the blue tick on X so you can talk about it and have a Substack and whatever, again, that's up to you. But I think it's really important to sort of say, don't let someone decide if you support Milan or not. Decide for yourself and decide how you do it for yourself. And if you are incredibly negative and you don't want to watch any games and you're just done with it, fair enough. And if you are incredibly positive and you still want to go, you know, we went to the stadium this year and I still, despite everything, would recommend it because you don't know how many times you can do that. You don't know what situation you're going to be in next year. You don't know what situation Milan's going to be. You don't know what's going on in your life. So to have the opportunity to go and watch it, I would always recommend it. Like Rune, for example, you know, he tweeted me and he said, you he's going to watch Atalanta, and I'm sorry, I'm really sorry, Rune, I really am. Not because you're going, but because of what might happen in the game. But he was telling me how all the games he's been to, and fair play, Rune, fair play. That costs money. You have to invest money into that. And, you also get to vision it, and you get to put credibility behind what you're saying, not just spouting out bullshit. So I think that's really important. I think it's really important to say. And I think also, like, there's kind of been this division in we're not, me and Gino are not, we're just like, we just do it for a laugh. We're not in these groups and camps and stuff. Well, there's been a lot of division about what your fandom looks like, what your Milanismo looks like. If you're supporting this, you're this. If you're not supporting this, you're that. And I think there's been a bit more coming together recently around the fact that Fellaini is a problem and he needs to go. Cardinale is an issue, needs to go. That we should be careful about what we say and how we say it. That we should support our club, but in the way that suits us, not what other people tell us. And I think that's really important. So, look, I've gone around the houses there, but I want you to understand that your fanhood is yours, not anyone else's. Right, so let's move on to the Substack. So we have a Substack. We're doing a lot more free work on there at the moment. Actually, I think me and Gino enjoy writing. So although it's great for the premium stuff to be able to pay for, like I said, the restream and the blue tick and everything that we do, actually sometimes it's quite great just to write for fun. So we're doing that. Our subscribers are going up. You'll see at the bottom quite a lot more names than we've had before, which is great. So a big welcome to them. Thank you for joining our Substack. We have a Substack chat where we kind of, in the last day, started talking a bit more in there, which is great. Myself and Gino have written pieces this week. If you want to be a premium member, you can become a founding member like the guys here. So thanks to Rune, Rajat and Shane for being our founding members. And a big thank you to Buzz, who is our monthly subscriber. You can find the Substack, of course, the MLM Calcio blog. We slightly renamed it because it made more sense, and we've got a slightly different logo as well. Go ahead, subscribe, enjoy it. The pieces we've done this week. So Gino wrote this piece just talking about sort of what we've been saying for a few seasons and how it's starting to materialise on the pitch. Not good. And it's not a good thing either, by the way. But this is his piece. Please give it a read. It's great. It's fantastic, actually. This was my piece coming out of the Sassuolo game. So Milan are slipping. Again, if you like it, give us a read, a like, and a follow. And that takes us to the end. So again, I'll just plug the usual bits. So, of course, you can get us on X through MLM Podcast 01. You can find us on our YouTube channel, which I'm currently streaming now. You can, of course, follow us on TikTok. You can get us on Instagram, of course. We're on loads of different platforms like Spotify. I think you can get us on Amazon Podcast, Apple Podcast, everything you can imagine, we're on it. And then, of course, our Substack. Please like, follow, and subscribe. 39 minutes on my own. Not sure how I did that long, but there we go. And just watch out for Gino's one, who'll be doing his, and we'll send it out soon as well. Thank you very much. I guess Forza Milan, and let's see what happens against Atalanta. Grazie and ciao ragazzi.